be very careful about the amount of risk you want to take on would be my first thing, because real estate investment can be an amazing vehicle to diversify your wealth and to build wealth, but it can also, you can lose very quickly if you do the wrong things or you take on too much. So, and the other thing I would say, just like before we even dig into that, is your personal property, like your primary residence, is a great investment. I think a lot of people, I talk to people that I love Bigger Pockets and all the things online that tell you about real estate, but they're like, oh, I've been on Bigger Pockets and I need to buy a fourplex and I need to,
house hack.
Yeah, I need a house hack and I need to do a live and flip and this and that. And then they, they take out a $30K loan to do a flip on top of their, like a renovation loan, and then they don't know how to have a production schedule or a contractor, and then they're underwater in it. So that's the biggest thing, is realizing that for a lot of people, your first and best investment is just looking at your first home you buy as what would be a good primary residence that would flip into a good rental. So I'm going to live in it, whether it's a townhouse, make sure that, make sure you work with a really good agent that's going to ask you these questions. That's one of our main questions we ask first-time buyers is, are you interested in investments? Do you want to know something that you could flip into an investment? So because we can always look at, if you're looking at a condo or a townhome for a first property, single family, you're normally fine unless there's a weird HOA. But condo townhomes, a lot of them don't allow rentals. They don't allow leases. So, or they don't allow dogs, or, things that will really hurt you on getting renters. So that's the biggest thing, is look at that first property as an investment and how you can build from there. You can do a lot of interesting things like cash out refinances and things too, if you want to keep that property and use it to cash flow other properties. So that, and then, you can do a bunch of different vehicles, but there's kind of a few main ideas I like people to understand, is just the different ways that you can build wealth from real estate investing, like the different types of investments and the different ways you can build wealth. But it's also looking at the biggest thing I can tell people is have good partners. So have a good realtor you trust, have a good contractor, or have a good realtor, and then they'll give you lenders, contractors, vendors, all those things. If they're really into investment side of stuff, they should have people that they trust to be your contractor, to manage a production schedule, to do all those things. If you were to do a flip, or you were to do a lot of people don't think about, if you buy and hold a rental, you're still going to have work to do to it to make it up to par with what the current market is looking like for renters, if it's a resale home.
Right.
So having the right connections to get those vendors and get the people that can give you good numbers, because if you don't know your numbers, then you're not going to like being in investments. So, what's your cap rate on a property? What's going to be the cost to renovate the property? What's the cost of property management? Are you going to manage it yourself? There's just a laundry list of questions that are very basic once you've done one, but you just don't think about sometimes. And then I like to just tell people, because a lot of people don't realize, if they've never thought about real estate investing, the different ways to capture money basically with real estate. So you've got, just your cash flow, which everyone thinks about initially. So if I have, this mortgage expense and these other expenses on this property, and I'm renting it out for X amount, take it what you're renting it out for minus all the expenses. So that's your cash flow. What a lot of people don't think about is equity capture. So if you're in a down market and you buy a property and it's going to be worth more than what you bought it for, or it's currently worth more, that's equity capture. That's great. Then you have appreciation over time. You have a lot of really good tax benefits, especially with rental properties. So I always tell people, I'll give you the very basic and talk to your CPA on that. Mm-hmm. But there's several different ways that you can, build value and build money. But a lot of people just look at cash flow. And it's even if you're only cash flowing, a lot of people want to cash flow $500 a month on a property. That's not very standard, especially with interest rates the way they are now today. So it's if someone else can pay your mortgage on that and you can break even, that's still a good investment a lot of times.
Sure. Because even in that situation, $500 a month, passive. I mean, I love passive income. Yeah. Everybody says that. But the furnace goes out on month 12. It's $6,000. There goes all of your profit from the entire year. But to your point, you're gaining equity. You've been holding it for the long. The property's appreciating. You think of other investments, it doesn't there's not as many benefits in that side where it's yes, you can go underwater, but there's a lot more structure to that. And the assumption is a property is going to appreciate over time. You would hope anyway, unless there's other circumstances to it. But
yeah, and the biggest factor, like your real estate agent is very important, but it's also important if you're serious about getting into investments on a higher level is having a good CPA, because they're going to be able to tell you, what your tax benefits are and what your benefits are in other aspects, or how you can mitigate losses or things that happen. And then just thinking about what level of stress you want to have. A lot of people, like I am very big on no stress with investments.
You like your sleep, it sounds like.
I just have enough things going on in other areas that with investments for me, it's like I probably pay more than I should on like a contractor or a management fee or something like that, because I'd rather just not think about it. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I think people get into investments and then they get overwhelmed and they regret it because they take on too much, And so our clients, a lot of them are more, they're out of state or they're well established and they have a lot of cash on hand to deal with the furnace going out and this and that. But that's one thing that, like, we have a lot of people that they have many properties and someone manages them. Mm-hmm. So those are the best type of investors, because it's like, I'm just going to pay a property manager. I'm not going to deal with it. Or people that are like, I'm going to do a full flip, or I'm going to do a live and flip, and I like doing it. I mean, I think about you and Paige. Like, Paige loves doing those things. So,
oh yeah, she's always like, let's just buy another house and I can flip it. I'm like, no.
Right. And so it's like, choose your adventure, right? Mm-hmm. So I bought a flip, and for me, I have a contractor that I'm hiring to do all of the work because I don't want to deal with managing it. Like, he, owns a home renovation company, is a GC basically, and manages all of it. If I was running a production schedule as well as running a real estate business, I would not enjoy doing a flip. So, you pay a lot more to do it that way. But I also, had equity capture. I bought it off market for a very good price. Mm-hmm.
When did you close on that? Was that this year or last year?
May of this year.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's been a couple of months then. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. So goal is to have it done in like 4 to 5 months. So you can get, and that's the thing, you can get something done quicker, but my contractor has multiple going on at a time. And so you're going to pay a premium if you're the only project they're working on. So that's where you want to look at too, what are my holding costs monthly? And timing the market. You don't want to sell a house in December. So although I'm not running the production schedule, you have to be mindful of, okay, a lot of people just think, okay, I'm going to have 6 months of holding costs potentially, but like, what value are you giving up if you're selling that home in December versus September? So that's the things we help people think about, whether it's a flip or, buying and holding a rental property, is just looking at, having them talk to their CPA on the different tax differentiations, and then like, when are you going to sell it if you do a flip? Who's your contractor? What are they going to charge you? What are your holding costs? And just helping them kind of build out that estimate and, itemize all those things, because there's just a lot that you don't think about.